The CEO of Airbnb believes his company is fundamentally broken, according to an interview he did with Bloomberg. The short-term rental giant faces competition from other businesses like VRBO and challenges with governments as they crack down on short-term rentals. Major cities like New York, Toronto, and Vancouver created restrictive bylaws, along with the BC government, who recently passed legislation restricting them to primary homes only. Jason Gaidola joining us live with more on this tonight. Hey, Jason.
Hey, Matt, that legislation got a cosign from Deputy Prime Minister Chrystia Freeland, who also says the federal government will look into ways how they can turn short-term options into long-term ones.
2012, Airbnb introduced.
In an attempt to ease a long-term rental shortage in Canada, the Deputy Prime Minister says Ottawa will look into federal ways to put a cap on the short-term market. Yesterday, Chrystia Freeland said, "We are looking around and are saying, what can we do right away that makes more homes available for Canadians? And short-term rental is one of those spaces." Freeland also applauded British Columbia following the province's first passing of new rental rules on Monday, legislation that will allow municipalities to enforce hosts who offer short-term accommodation through companies like Airbnb to do so only on the property they live on.
These actions will return literally thousands of homes back to the market. We are taking an all-hands-on-deck, all-of-the-above approach to housing. This is one more step in our larger housing strategy to ensure BC is a great place to visit for tourists, but also to live for the people who make this province go.
BC is also set to increase fines for short-term operators who break city bylaws and will require platforms to share data with the province for enforcement and tax purposes. This month, Airbnb CEO Brian Chesky called his company fundamentally broken as it faced effects from the pandemic, new rental rules like this, and complaints from hosts about their shrinking profits. Places like Vancouver, Toronto, and New York City already have their own restrictions.
And you're working on one of the biggest IPOs ever at that point, and then suddenly you lose 80% of your business in 8 weeks.
That's what you lost.
80% of our business, and we had a business larger. We were our gross sales were probably higher than Starbucks.
During a podcast with investor Stephen Bartlett, Chesky says his $78 billion company will rebound and is calling on rental hosts to reprioritize customer service and affordable prices.
And I said, what's about to ensue over the next 6 months will be the best 6 months in the company's history. We are going to redefine every part of our company.
Over in Europe, Chesky is also asking the city of Paris to take action.
A lot of people need housing. You know, they don't have enough hotel rooms here in Paris to accommodate everyone.
Airbnb is expected to host as many as 500,000 people when next year's Summer Olympics rolls into town, and believes with more listings, prices will be contained.
We've done surveys that suggest as many as 20% of people in Paris are interested in hosting. If they put their homes in Airbnb and there's enough housing, prices will stay within reason. You know, if not enough people put their homes in Airbnb and people don't have enough supply or they're staying in hotels and they can't build more hotels, that's going to increase prices.
Back in Canada, BC officials are also imposing that hosts must obtain licenses for their properties and register all of their listings.
The BC legislation is expected to take effect on May 1st next year. Trending Now did reach out to Airbnb for a response today, and they tell us that the legislation won't alleviate housing concerns and will negatively impact tourism.